Yasodhanandana Vraja Janarandana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. So today we'll be reading from chapter 9, text 19. If you could repeat after me. Tapamyaham varsham Nigrahnam yutrasjami cha Amritam chaiva mrityuscha Sadasachaham Arjuna Tapamyaham varsham Nigrahnam yutsrajami cha Amritam chaiva mrityuscha Sarasachaham Arjuna Tapamyaham varsham Nigrahnam yutrasjami cha Amritam chaiva mrityuscha Sarasachaham Arjuna Tapamaham varsham Nigrahnam yutsrajami cha Amritam chaiva mrityuscha Sarasachaham Arjuna. Anyone else? Okay. Tapami, give heat. Aham, I. Aham, I. Varsham, rain. Nigrahnami, withhold. Utsrajami, send forth. Cha, and. Amritam, immortality. Cha, and. Eva, certainly. Mrityuhu, death. Cha, and. Sat, spirit. Asat, matter. Cha, and. Aham, I. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Arjuna, I give heat and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am immortality and I am also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me. Purport. Krishna, by his different energies, diffuses heat and light through the agency of electricity and the sun. During the summer season, it is Krishna who checks rain from falling from the sky, and then during the rainy season, he gives unceasing torrents of rain. The energy which sustains us by prolonging the duration of our life is Krishna, and Krishna meets us at the end as death. By analyzing all these different energies of Krishna, one can ascertain that for Krishna there is no distinction between matter and spirit, or in other words, he is both matter and spirit. In the advanced stage of Krishna consciousness, one therefore makes no such distinctions. He sees only Krishna in everything. Since Krishna is both matter and spirit, the gigantic universal form comprising all material manifestations is also Krishna. And his pastimes in Vrindavan as two-handed Shyamasundar playing on a flute are those of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Sulakaya Chakshuruminitam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Parakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, many millenniums ago, the Ganga River came from the toe of Lord Vishnu onto this earth and blessed this earth as the Ganga River. They said people that bathe in the Ganga River, they will flow back to the lotus feet of Krishna. In Dvapar Yuga, Ganga appeared again, but this time it flowed actually from the mouth of Krishna in the form of the Bhagavad Gita. And so it is said those who bathe, those who submerge themselves in the Bhagavad Gita, they will flow back to the smiling lotus face of Krishna. And then now in Kali Yuga, Ganga came once again as the tears of Lord Chaitanya. And so the tears of Lord Chaitanya, they will take us back to the heart of God, the heart of Krishna like this. So I feel very fortunate, and I'm very glad that I get to speak about this Bhagavad Gita today, this very powerful scripture that will help us come back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, this specific verse, it really has this mood of balance. And when talking about this balance, what comes to my mind is Yudhishthira Maharaj and his example of how he ruled this earth when he was the king of this planet, of this globe. It's described that when Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling, that the clouds showered all the water the people needed. It's also described that the cows moistened the grazing ground with milk. Why? Because payaso dhasvatir muda, due to fatty milk bags and joyful attitude. I think it's very nice how Bhagavatam is translating the udders of the cow as fatty milk bags. I think in the word for word also it says swollen milk bags. I think it's very nice. It said that the people that were under the rule of Yudhishthira Maharaj, they were not even suffering from excessive heat or cold. And also the rivers, the oceans, the hills, mountains, and the forests, they were all paying their quota to the king, their due quota, in the form of minerals, pearls, jewels, medicine from the forests, wood, vegetables. These things they were paying as their quota to the king, because they were very pleased with the king. Why were they pleased with the king? Because the King Yudhishthira was a great devotee of Krishna. Prabhupada says in these purports where the state of the earth when Yudhishthira Maharaj was ruling, he says that the secret to success is to take refuge under the protection of the Supreme Lord. So King Yudhishthira, he did exactly this. He was taking refuge under the protection of Krishna. And because of this, everything was reciprocating nicely. We know that these rivers, these oceans, the hills, the mountains, and the forests, they do not belong to man. They were not created by man. Therefore, they do not belong to man. They belong actually to Krishna. And so if we please Krishna by taking shelter of Krishna, then naturally, of course, all these things, they reciprocate because they are also pleased. So this is the power of taking shelter of Krishna and aligning your desires with his desires. This is what Maharaj Yudhishthira showed very nicely. Of course, the will of Krishna is very powerful and it reigns supreme in connection with the reign that we have in this verse. Maybe you can show the translation. In Bhagavatam also it displays how powerful this reign can also be and how powerful the will of Krishna is. Hordes of clouds called Samvartaka pour torrents of rain for 100 years. Flooding down in raindrops as long as the trunk of an elephant, the deadly rainfall submerges the entire universe in water. So we see that the same rain that was bringing so much balance and so much prosperity to the people under the reign of King Yudhishthira can also cause the destruction or the complete submergence of water of this material universe. So that is also there. But basically, what we can learn from how King Yudhishthira, how the environment was reciprocating with how he was, ruling at the time. There's this principle that people have. It's called reading the land. It's something that a lot of people that are engaged in agriculture, they practice this. And reading the land basically means that, okay, you have a specific ecosystem, you have an environment, and you look at it, you see, okay, there's certain plants here that are growing excessively. That must mean that in the soil, for example, there is too much of this specific nutrient, or there is not enough of this plant that is growing, so therefore we can conclude that there is not enough of this nutrient. And so we must take steps to kind of fill that hole. So this is the practice of reading the land. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about reading also reading the land, but reading the land of the mind, body, and senses. In the 13th chapter, the Gita talks about Kshetra. Krishna talks about Kshetra, which he describes as the field of activities, or we can say the body. So Krishna talks about this body, this material human body that we have, and he also talks about Kshetragya, which means the knower of the field, or the knower of this material body. Who is the knower of this material body? There's two knowers. There's the individual soul, and there's also the super soul, the supreme soul, or Krishna. So these two personalities, they have knowledge of the Kshetra, they have knowledge of this field, or this land, you can say. So, to learn about this body or this field,